Freeman. Today I want to talk to you about what the man says here, setting up a default Ableton template. For those of you using Ableton who didn't know this, you can go to File, Options, Preferences, File folder, Save Current Set as Default. This lets you change anything you want, set it any way that you want, and then blammo, you save it. Every time you open Ableton, everything you want is right at your fingertips. So let's take a quick look at my philosophy for doing this. So the first thing that I wanted to deal with was speed. I wanted to be able to start sketching a song immediately with no waiting and no money down. I wanted it to be able to start right away. As soon as I turned on the Ableton, as soon as it loaded up, I could hit F9, which is the record shortcut, and blammo. The next thing, I wanted options. I wanted something more or less that I would end up using just ready to go from the start. And the last thing, if you're in a rush to get an idea out of your brain into a song, you might skip some of the important early decisions, which will later come back to bite you in the butt when you're mixing and mastering. So I wanted it to take care of the planning automatically. This is what I came up with, and what you come up with will be different and suited to your needs. This is suited to Papa's needs. Oh, and I have many needs. That's so fucking creepy. All right, so let's take a quick look at what I got. Default, I have a vocal track and I have a piano, VST, and contact ready to go, armed, both ready to record as soon as I load. So I can hit F9 and start going, lady with a spoon for a face, she said, lift me up and sip from my bed, whatever, nothing. I got nothing. But if I had something, I could record it right away very easily. You may wonder, why is the vocal track in a group when there's only one vocal track? Well, what are the odds there's only going to stay one vocal track? Essentially 0. It's always going to be doubled vocals, backups. So start with a group and you don't have to think about it later. The piano has a utility plugin. Utility is the most important plugin in Ableton. Lets you adjust the gain, it lets you change the phase, it lets you do a bunch of other things, which are good. But most importantly is the gain. Since you will have to adjust the gain of every track to make them nice and even before you start mixing, it's good to do this with the utility plugin. So it's already there, and it's already there. It's the first thing in the vocal track. But let's just take a look at some of the other things I have. Default, I have a guitar set to input 2. Input 2 is where my guitar is plugged in. Got a very simple preset in Guitar Rig. This is based on the actual amp I had as a teenager, the settings I would use at that time that I still like the sound of, and utility plugin. And that's ready to go. Just got to arm that for that to work. And of course, it's in a group because whoever has one guitar track. Now I have an old school Rhodes piano. Because if you want to, write music, just having a few options instrumentally when you start is very useful. I write music differently with the Rhodes piano than I would with a piano or a guitar, and I have these options. And likewise, I would write songs differently if I'm dealing with a synthesizer. This is a VST called Uno 60. It's based on the Juno 60. Look at this cleverness up here. And this is a very excellent plugin. Sounds beautiful, very 80s. You can come up with all kinds of groovy stuff here and really go nuts. Anyhow, because I use a lot of synthesizers, and this is a synthesizer I use a lot, it's very easy for me to quickly come up with a patch and to just start roughing something out. It is quick and easy, and I don't have to use the synthesizer in a finished song. I can change it later, but I can get roughly what I want with very little effort. and it's there ready to go with a beautiful utility plugin. So let's take a look at this. This is my bass synth. It doesn't have to be for bass. Serum. I think Serum is the best, among the best VSTs out there. See? See how good a VST it is? I go see? I can play all the boops. And then that's got a utility plugin or whatever. But this is a patch that on default is a decent bass patch for anything that ails you. Anyhow, and then last but not least, drum rack. I got a drum rack. It's got a bunch of different samples I put in for different things, the sorts of things that you might just want to sketch out a rough beat. Not talking about your finished drum track, talking about your sketch. So you get your boop. Anyhow, that's it. That's the whole thing. All set up and ready to go. Now, because I want options, this is options. This is ease, right? Starts with these two things armed. Very easy, very quick. Options, got all my main instruments ready to go. And planning, I've got utility plugins on every channel. And on some channels, like the bass, I've got a few extra things going on here, which, you know, this is a great plugin that lets you duck the audio. If you don't know what that is, Google it, ducking. You duck for the kick drum. This does this very easily, and that's ready to go because I'll probably need it later. This is a limiter. I'll probably need it later. The vocals have 3 different effects racks. I will need something in each of these racks later. This is basic audio control. Got EQ, multi-band compressor, limiter, de-esser. Then I have this nice EQ that helps color things, another multi-band EQ, and compressor. And then last but not least, I have all of these effects sends. Doubler, another doubler, reverb, 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 delay, and clean. And so I know that I'm going to be using combinations of these things. So why hunt around? Why go to my plugins and hunt around in my effects? You know, go like, oh, which is the one I like? They're already loaded. Everything's loaded I would ever need, and it's all turned off so that I can turn it on when I need it. And that's it. Options, preferences, file folder, save current set as default. I'm gonna leave you with this 9 and start going. Lady with a spoon for a face, she said, lift me up and sip from my bed, whatever, you know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Add me on Instagram to make your own requests. And if you like the idea of giving people songs they've always dreamed of, consider supporting me on Patreon.